certainly study harder.
They're really hard workers. I don't think I've ever known an Asian guy or girl on welfare. I mean, most of the people I've met on welfare are white. Most of the dumb people I meet are white. But then most people I know are white.
You're a hay farmer or hay deliverer.
So, so they're not a minority. I know who the biggest minority is in this nation.
Yeah, the individual?
That's right.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So does it mean we can't pick on the individual?
Well, let me just read the article for you, and you can decide. On Tuesday, yesterday, Federal District Court Judge Allison Burroughs ruled that Harvard's race-conscious admissions process is fair, and it doesn't discriminate against Asian American applicants. On the surface, the ruling is a huge win for affirmative action, as it upholds the university's practice of considering a person's race in the application process to create a more diverse student body. But the plaintiffs, an anonymous group of Asian Americans who were rejected from Harvard, have argued that Harvard caps the number of spots available to Asian students like them.
I have one problem with this.
Yep.
Anonymous complainant. That's like the neighbor calling the cops for a noise complaint. I mean, is it anonymous for the purpose of the article, or was the actual suit, did a lawyer walk in and says, I'm representing these anonymous people?
As I understand, that's pretty much what happened.
I think that should just be dismissed right away.
What about somebody who what? It's not like it's going to be good for your university career if you file suit against one of the biggest universities in America. So let's say you ended up.
So if Jimmy Chong felt violated because he's Asian, it sounds like here, and he himself files, and he's a young man wanting to get into college, I could see where, he probably will be less likely he's accepted because now he's going to be seen as a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So going on, it says here the organization represented them is led by a white man. So, yeah, it's complicated. The plaintiffs, this is Vox, by the way, that I'm from which I'm reading here. So if that doesn't make it clear to you, Vox is wildly leftist. I couldn't find a good article that I felt addressed all the parts that I wanted to address and seemed middle of the road. So I went with the Vox article because I think it's well done.
So Vox is trying to be opposite of Fox.
I don't know, maybe
not quite Mox News.
Yeah, this is written by Alexia Fernandez Campbell and P.R. Lockhart. They had to team up to write this article.
Oh, that's cool. So, as long as the article's good.
Yep. The plaintiffs are planning to appeal the case, and if it ends up in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, conservative justices like Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh might end up outlawing affirmative action altogether. I mean, it's likely to end up in front of the Supreme Court because the justices that would rule in favor of it are likely to want to hear it. So this isn't the sort of thing. I think this will end up at the Supreme Court is my prediction.
I mean, this affirmative action stuff is really nonsense. For example, my best friend in high school, his parents owned a very large construction company.
Uh-huh.
And it was his mom was a proprietor. She didn't know nothing about construction. It was the dad's business. He had worked it and been working it since he was a kid and built this, and he did all kinds of, he was a heck of a businessman.
Yep.
And I was like, so, mom, friend's mom, how come, why do you own the business? And the old man starts laughing. I'm like, I don't know, 17, 18 years old, maybe 15. Sure. He's like, well, because the lady owns it, we get these federally government funded contracts. Jobs that other people don't get. And because, what was the other thing too? So he had, I don't know, 7 or 8 of the guys that were worked on his crew, their wives were on the payroll basically for I don't know what, and basically they just gave them a couple $1,000 bonus a year. I mean, they never showed up to work. It was all about X amount of the workforce being within this minority, configuration, so they could get they did some work for the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, for example, and it had to comply with a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And
somebody who's never done a day worth of construction work in their life said, well, I mean, we should give preference to construction companies that are comprised of a demographic set as such and such or so and so. And that doesn't take any consideration into account as to, who's the best for the job, who is in the market force, the labor force that's looking to be hired, or anything like that. What it looks at is that we want outcomes. We want equal opportunity outcomes. And what happens? Just what you're talking about. Somebody sets up a business that is minority owned, in this case by a woman who's, by the way, women aren't minorities in America or, frankly, very many places around the world.
Yeah, they're about, roughly half the population?
Slightly more than half the population. They live longer.
So the man would be the minority if we're going to be talking about, this particular who's more minority between the two, right?
Oh, now you're looking at actual definitions of words. So no, we can't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or if we need a labor force comprised of this, that, and the other, then then somebody's just going to comprise their labor force of this, that, and the other in order to get the contract, so they can go about doing the work. And now Harvard is a private organization. It's basically an investment fund with a colleging wing now, a university wing now, because they have so much money that they don't really need to do the whole schooling part, and they'd continue on with their thing.
Elizabeth Warren went to Harvard. There's a guy running for Senate in Massachusetts. His name is, it's slipping me, but he had a big sign that said, "Vote for a real Indian." He's an Indian fellow from India. Well, her parents are from India. I think he's, born here. He's a native.
Yep.
He's Native American. He's an
Right.
Indian. He's a real Indian. Anyways, I'll think of his name in a second, but he... Shiva for Senate. I forget Shiva's last name, or Shiva could be his last name. But he did a talk with Ernie Hancock back in the fall last year, and he talks about how everybody that comes out of Harvard is essentially these crooked, corrupt politicians, that make it up through, and just like all the politicians that come out of Yale, and they're all part of these, I don't know, secret society, whatever. Kind of,
in
drinking.
2000
Yep.
Was it 2006, 2004, we had two Skull and Bones members running against each other. Now, not only were they Harvard boys, but they belonged to the very same club with this ominous sounding name. I'm not sure what the club does. Don't particularly care what the club does, but nonetheless, that's fertile soil for anybody who wants to create some kind of conspiracy theory, and for very good reason. So what it does is it brings me to a point that I like to make is that, there's kind of the rest of us. There's two groups, the rest of us and those who would purport to rule us.
Oh, like Ernie Hancock says, there's those who who will leave you alone, and there's those who just won't leave you alone.
Now,
those who want to be left alone, and there's those who will not leave you alone.
Right. But now those who propose to rule us are a very small segment, but many of them have gone to these Ivy League
Yale
schools.
And Harvard and
now when I looked up recently, presidents have gone to Ivy League schools, and I'm using the term loosely here because Clinton went to Oxford, and so 80% of presidents in my lifetime have gone to an Ivy League school or a military academy. So it gives you some idea who goes where. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-453. Love to hear your thoughts.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com. Warning, this is a privacy alert. You are being spied on right now as I speak by your phone. If you want this to stop, visit GoDarkBags.com and we'll show you how elite military units protect themselves and how you can too. GoDark Bags are lab tested and guaranteed for life. Visit GoDarkBags.com now and enter discount code FTL to save 15%. That's GoDarkBags.com. Discount code FTL. Your privacy depends on it. End transmission.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number, 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
And what we're talking about right now is there's a ruling that's come down from a judge who, doesn't seem to think that it's a problem that Harvard is, what does discrimination mean? It means, deciding something, like if you have discriminating tastes, right? You obviously get rid of the things you don't like and bring in the things that you do like, right? My son has discriminating tastes. He eats like chicken fingers and grilled cheese sandwiches. But I think that's quite the opposite, actually. But he, in this case, they're saying...
He has discriminating taste. He doesn't eat spinach unless his mother blends it for him.
No, he actually eats his vegetables very,
okay.
very well. Fortunately, my wife was... she did this right, no doubt. She made it so that he is... accepting of vegetables. He will eat his stuff. Like you can say it's his favorite things.
I offered him a kale, spinach, other greens smoothie, and
he's not gonna eat that.
He was just like very politely, no thank you. I'll have water.
I'm glad he said no thank you. But you can never. In his case, he'll eat broccoli if prepared in a certain fashion. Right? It has to be steamed. Can't be boiled. Can't be raw. Those kind of things. Anyway, as far as discrimination goes, Harvard is discriminating based on race, and in this case, the judge considers it positive discrimination in so much as they have certain thresholds for certain races that they've picked out the race. They've decided what the races are.
That they want Harvard.
Well, no, not just the ones that they want, but they've decided what the races are, right? Like, so, in this mixed up, crazy world, there are few of us who are any one thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. Yep.
And I'm not.
America's a melting pot. I mean, yeah, we're both basically mutts.
And now Harvard has decided that, you can check a little box to say you're this thing or that thing. And I don't know what they do if somebody checks a box that they don't look like.
I check Native American because
you were born here.
That's right.
Right. Now, I'm sure that there's some American Indians that would find that to be unacceptable. But who's going to stop them?
I have an American Indian friend who agrees with me 100%. He's like, if you're born here, you're Native American.
Right.
Because if you're born in Canada, you're Native American.
Right, on the continent. And that's also something I'm kind of interested in is basically anybody who's from Central America, Mexico,
or South America.
Mexico, Guatemala, whatever, is also a Native American, but they have a Latino designation for them, and I don't know. So
those
anyway,
lucky guys who don't get sunburnt like me.
So Harvard, has determined which categories they want to have more of and gone about trying to get more of them. One of the categories that they don't need any more of, and I suspect the other category, several categories are like Indian, Chinese, Caucasian. They probably feel like they got plenty of those. There's a university that I was in Illinois. I think it's UIA, and it was somebody who was there, jokingly told me, the locals call it University of Indians and Asians. I don't know what the actual designation is, but
10 years ago, UMass was like that. I say 10 years ago because a relative of mine was going to school there 10 years ago, and I went and helped him out with several projects and a few different things, and I would have to say at least every third, girl or guy I saw walking around was either Indian or Asian.
And
which I'm fine with, whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not representative of the population of America, but so.
That's why there's such great Indian food in Amherst, Massachusetts, because there's great Asian food because these people know the difference that are going there because they're from those places. I love the diversity of places like that.
My Harvard trained dentist that I go to, Asian, and I am, happy to get the good treatment that I get. He's watching this case. He and I have talked about this case in his office. He's delighted that I recently visited Seoul. He's Korean. And doesn't seem to obviously nobody wants to not be able to make the cut because of their race. Like, that is an unpleasant thing to have happen. And
so is this what Harvard's doing? Is this basically their you're not accepted because you're Asian kind of thing?
Well, it's so like there's a certain percentage of Asians and a certain percentage of Indians and a certain percentage of whites and blacks and Latinos and whomever. I don't even know all the categories. They do. I suspect they aren't telling the rest of us because, well, there's a court case on. But they're deciding who gets in and who doesn't based on race. And to me, that's not what equality is.
I tell you what, if there was a bakery that only baked cakes deciding on race or maybe sexual preference, and I found out about them, I just wouldn't do business with that bakery.
Likely, that bakery would be shut down, too.
Well, and it would be. But since you have the likes of all the political elite have, alumni, our Harvard as or most of the political elite, they're probably not going to get shut down for something like this.
So agreed. It's very difficult. And one of the points I was making is basically a Harvard degree is a license to rule the world. And obviously, the majority of people who get a Harvard degree aren't likely to be a danger to yourself or anyone else.
They're not all psychopaths, everyone who gets a Harvard degree, but there definitely is a percentage of psychopaths in every group as far as I'm concerned.
You know as well as I do, if somebody, oftentimes, and I'm trying not to be the way I am, but, I'll just be me here, right? So Harvard's kind of like being a vegan. Having a Harvard degree is kind of like being a vegan. You got to mention it. You just like I'm going to have to mention that.
Every vegan I know does mention it.
And Tom Woods, for instance, it's difficult to know Tom Woods without knowing that he's a Harvard grad. Now, as a libertarian, I find it very interesting, and I like Tom Woods, and I like that we've got one, we got a Harvard grad that we can trot out. If they trot out their Harvard grad, we got ours. I like that. However, you're going to find out relatively quickly that Tom Woods is a Harvard grad. And, I think Tom Woods is a brilliant man, and I think you have to be pretty smart to get into Harvard, usually. But when they start lowering the standards for certain racial categories, then it really just diminishes the whole thing for everybody.
Well, what's the benefit to Harvard? Does that article get into this at all?
The benefit to going to Harvard?
No, what is the benefit of Harvard picking and choosing its race demographics to fill its roster?
Because colleges generally, and Harvard specifically, is populated by a bunch of ultra liberals out there that believe that outcomes are what determine discrimination, not opportunity. And that
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's just what it is. And what does Harvard care? There's always going to be plenty of students, and they don't need the money. They've got they're basically a giant endowment. 855-450-3733. Am I looking at this wrong? What do you know? 855-450-3733.
You can be the smartest person in the room on the topic of the Constitution if you watch this free webinar. Liberty First University is online training on the principles of liberty and the origin, proper application, and defense of our founding documents and the principles they contain. You will receive an education worthy of the highest institutions of learning, as if the founders were teaching it. Join us at lfu.freetalklive.com to watch the free pre-recorded webinar. Watch now at lfu.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number, 855-450-3733. If you're interested in this story about Asian Americans bringing a discrimination suit against the University of Harvard University, then, well, this is the show for you because we're talking about it. I want to tell you about AnyPay. If you go to helpmetakebitcoin.com, you can get your retail business, to set up and ready to take cryptocurrency. Yeah, they've got point of sale. It's cryptocurrency acceptance. Well, they've got it. It's never been easier thanks to helpmetakebitcoin.com. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. And if you have a business, you know how delightful that is. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just visit helpmetakebitcoin.com and follow the simple steps. Within moments, you'll be accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, right at your store. Get started now at helpmetakebitcoin.com. It's helpmetakebitcoin.com, and they make it very easy. I use it AnyPay at several businesses around town, and they make it simple for you. So going on with this article from Vox.com, meaning it's left-leaning, and it certainly is, the university disagreed, saying that there's no cap on Asian students and then that its holistic admissions process is necessary to ensure a diverse student body and does not discriminate against Asian American students. Judge Burroughs sided with the university. At least for now, ensuring diversity at Harvard relies in part on race-conscious admissions. So while they say that there's no discrimination, they say there's discrimination. At least for now, ensuring diversity, the trial raised complicated questions about the meaning of academic merit and what it should mean when we think about race in college admissions. For Asian Americans, the cause has also revealed significant divisions in support for affirmative action, making it clear that demographic can hardly be treated as a monolith. So, certainly there's some Asians out there that believe that this kind of discrimination is a good thing. Likely the ones who've already made it through the university they're going to make it through. Kind of like immigrants that make it into, say the United States and then want to shut the border down.
Oh, yeah. I actually worked with some Mexican nationals in Colorado that were like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of bad people in Mexico that want to come here. And one guy would tell me, and, his parents came when he was a little boy. So they went through the channels, did their pledge to the United States and all that stuff. And he was hardcore Trump, and he wanted to see a border wall. He even talked about a moat with, alligators and stuff in it, or the basically turn Rio Grande. He was like the most Mexican guy I ever met. And it was like, it was kind of funny listening to this guy talk like this. I mean, he had a heavy Mexican accent.
Oh, I've known immigrants that do the same thing. Absolutely. The court's ruling today confirmed that the Supreme Court has what the Supreme Court has repeatedly upheld, according to this Vanita Gupta. Affirmative action policies expand equal educational opportunities for all people of color, including Asian Americans, and are legal. He's the president of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. So I don't know how it benefits me if I were an Asian American, how it would benefit me to not make it into Harvard while somebody else did based on their race, and that would benefit me, because it doesn't. Let's see. Plaintiffs in Harvard are limited to the number of Asian Americans on campus. Plaintiffs said Harvard limited. In November 2014, Students for Fair Admissions filed its lawsuit alleging that Harvard is employing racially and ethnically discriminatory policies and procedures in administering the undergraduate admissions program that are biased against Asian American applicants. The plaintiffs said internal data shows Asian American applicants are rated lower on personal metrics despite outperforming white applicants in other areas. So the SFFA argued that Harvard effectively uses a quota to cap the percentage of Asian American admissions, and that the school engages in racial balancing to maintain a certain racial breakdown on campus. So the Students for Fair Admissions demonstrates evidence that this is their stuff is happening, and the other side goes, "Nuh-uh," and the judge rules for the other side. Wonder why? To fix this, SFFA argued that Harvard and ultimately all colleges should no longer consider race in its admissions process, and that the Supreme Court rulings in support of affirmative action have been built on mistakes of fact and law.
I mean, there shouldn't even be a spot on the application to check off race, as far as I'm concerned.
That would be, I think, best for everyone, personally. I think we should just stop talking about this social construct called race, because it gets more and more complicated as time goes by. I've seen videos where, as a matter of fact, it was the video called "Is It Okay to Kill White People?" It was a museum piece, and there were people on there that were talking about, it's probably not a good idea to kill white people, as though they were not white. But these people looked white to me. I mean, I'm sorry if my little radar's off a little bit or whatever, but I mean, I don't think we should be using race as a way to determine who can get good things and who can't get good things. For a college, personally, I think it should be merit-based. And now, it's not my business what Harvard does with its business. It's its business. And I think that a Harvard and Ivy League education, frankly, is getting less and less valuable over time. And I celebrate that.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. I think it's great that tradesmen and craftsmen are of my generation are far more valuable than people who literally have PhDs.
Right. If these Ivy League universities descend into a morass of liberal nonsense, then that's great, because in 2 generations, their degree will be basically meaningless to anybody who's not some kind of ultra-liberal.
It pretty much the degrees right now pretty much are almost meaningless unless you want to work in the parasite sector. For example, you want to be a school teacher in a public school. In order to have, they only want to hire you if you have a master's or a, whatever.
Right.
Just like even Tulsi Gabbard talks about how in the military, you can up your pay grade if you go get a master's in, underwater basket weaving. That's not what she uses. I forget what she said, but it was some like nonsensical, useless, thing.
The government is probably the single worst at this. There are plenty of examples in the free marketplace out there. That, for instance, you're not going to get a job as a teacher, very likely, in any, kindergarten through 12th grade educational system without a bachelor's in something, in all likelihood. But it's unlikely that, that more or less, there's plenty of places like Free Talk Live, for instance, where you don't need a communications degree to get to be a broadcaster here. You need to have demonstrated the ability to do the job. And then we'll bring you on for sort of an apprenticeship. And if we think that you're good for that, we'll bring you on a little longer in a probationary period, and then, we'll go from there. So there's plenty of jobs that do just that. And you can make great money without a degree. You can make great money with a degree. You can. I don't think a degree is necessarily terribly. It isn't as valuable, I think, as it was 20 years ago. And it's probably because everybody has told their kids that they need to go get a degree, and now there's a bunch of people running around out there with degrees that aren't really in anything of value. Now, I'm going to say doctors, engineers, lawyers. There's probably a small handful of professionals where you need to have some kind of degree, but computer programming, plenty of coders out there never went to college.
And people aren't going to school for these, like, degree necessary careers, like veterinarian, for example. Personally, I would hire a veterinarian that doesn't have a degree, somebody who's just got experience. But there's a huge shortage of veterinarians. There's a huge shortage of doctors, just like my dentist is from Egypt. There are very few American dentists because Americans they're not pushing themselves. They're not going to do these hard, challenging careers.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE or the Discord lines at discord.freetalklive.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus doesn't grow on. So it naturally has antifungal, antiviral